see, this is Coliseum just after 3 o'clock. This is the kind of stuff that your kids end up seeing and dealing with. This is the state of Coliseum here in Edmonton, Alberta. As you can see, they're smoking meth in their meth pipe. They're doing whatever they want because they think they own this place.
There's also a major concern on transit as we're getting some new data showing how concerned riders are about violence and how dangerous trains and buses have become.
Urban progressive policies and public safety are colliding, and the battleground of these two concepts is here in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada's transit system. However, if the city government has its way, you may never know how wrong they got it. The city has just issued a new directive banning journalists like myself and my videographer Kian Simone from reporting in the LRT system, the light rail transit system. The city cites safety concerns. Apparently for the city, their safety concerns are the public finding out just how bad the social decay is in the LRT system. So what I'm doing right now and what my videographer Kian Simone is doing right now is technically against the rules, but journalists should not ask the very people who caused the problem of social decay for the right to report on it. Let's give a backstory about how we got in this mess in the first place. This all began in 2021.
It's a call that's been growing among the calls for changes in policing, defunding the police.
They cut the policing budget as part of an international progressive wave to reimagine our public institutions.
The idea, to prevent crimes like domestic abuse in the first place, so police aren't needed. First, that a $75 million increase to EPS funding promised through 2022 is instead put toward community-led organizations. That could include Black Lives Matter.
Fast forward to summer 2022 when a new initiative emerged to deal with the rapidly declining urban landscape.
LRT stations have become makeshift supervised consumption sites because of the high visibility area. If someone overdoses, the group says they know they'll get help more quickly.
The city's response to the problem caused by defunding the police, well, it was the Public Inclusion and Outreach for Illicit Drugs Response Team. And that team took a remarkable step. They went to the city's LRT stations and started handing out drug paraphernalia, crack pipes, and needles to the people using illicit drugs inside the city's public infrastructure.
What the fuck?
Oh my God, look at me.
What?
The origins of the response team can be traced back to June 2022. That's when the city came under extreme pressure from the provincial government to do something about the drug problem and the rising crime rates in the downtown core.
And I want to ensure that the people of Edmonton receive adequate and effective policing. And that's why I'm requesting that the city of Edmonton take direct action to address this alarming situation.
The order says, show us your plan. And we have a plan. And we've augmented that plan in recent weeks and in recent days. Essentially, it'll be a question about that plan.
The city's decision to distribute crack pipes and needles caused absolute destruction in the LRT system and made it unsafe for the people who, through green progressive policies, are forced to use the LRT system.
A vandalism spree on a bus at Northgate Transit Centre is just the latest problem plaguing the safety of Edmonton's transit system.
The turning point, not just for the province, but for the public writ large, was when a methamphetamine user attacked someone on the transit system with an ice pick.
Public Safety Minister Mike Ellis said his government safety task force is working on solutions, promising help is on the way soon.
Next train, Century.
The city had to reckon with their poorly thought out plan to deal with the opioid crisis by enabling it. And the citizens of Edmonton and the users of the transit system demanded action. They weren't seeing it from the city, however. A vacuum was left, and Alberta's Premier Danielle Smith stepped in to fill the void. Smith deployed provincial sheriffs to the downtown core and to the transit system to make it safer for the people who use the transit system, but also for the businesses in and around the downtown core.
What's been started last couple of weeks is a really good improvement right now. More patrol by the security officers, better communication between the police and the Chinatown community, and I think the main thing is just decentralize all the social service around the Chinatown. That'll get rid of a lot of the issue regarding the homeless and needle drugs.
So we're on our way up the stairs to Edmonton's multi-million-dollar hockey arena, our NHL arena. It's one of the most beautiful arenas in the NHL, and I cannot stomach the smell of urine and feces in this little stairwell.
Been a 75% increase in violent criminal activity on LRT and transit stations. And on this, we stand shoulder to shoulder with the men and women of the Calgary and Edmonton police services. So we are responding. I'm told that the most immediate response to making people safe, block by block, transit station by transit station, community by community, is putting more boots on the ground.
At the same time, a social movement began.
Are you bored in Edmonton? For a small fee of $2.75, you can ride the LRT train around the city and possibly get stabbed in the kidneys with a Swiss Army knife.
You have to be extremely cautious on our transit system and on our streets downtown right now.
Oh boy!
Citizen journalists and regular people who had to travel to their own downtown core, people who had to work there and take the transit system, started documenting and sharing their own experiences on social media. It was a movement for change through exposure. Among those voices was a journalist, Arthur C. Green, at the time working for the Western Standard here in Edmonton, and he made it his personal mission to expose just how bad it was in Edmonton's downtown core, not out of a sense of disgust, but rather a sense of compassion for the people who live, work, and suffer from addiction. And the city's response to the effectiveness of those journalists like Arthur C. Green in exposing how the municipal government failed? Well, it was a complete and total media blackout imposed on journalism in the LRT stations here.
You have to be extremely cautious on our transit system and on our streets downtown right now.
My videographer and I rode the LRT system all day today. We did journalism, evidently, in every single station. We weren't hassled once. Now, that is not because there isn't a media blackout. It's because the city knows it doesn't have to enforce their media blackout. They know the other journalists in this city will comply and hide the city's failures. I should note that the mayor of Edmonton is a man named Amarjeet Sohi. He's a former Justin Trudeau cabinet minister who, upon losing his seat, came back to be the mayor here. And it's clear, once a liberal, always a liberal. Once a progressive, always a progressive. What we see here is just a continuation of the federal government's anti-independent media, anti-transparency policies, relying on the mainstream media, who are colonized by Justin Trudeau, to hide their failures. the story here is not over. In fact, it's just beginning. Will the actions of the provincial government to help the citizens of Edmonton be effective? I guess that remains to be seen. For Rebel News, I'm Sheila Gunn Reid. What's happening here in Edmonton is exactly what happens when municipalities and local governments take a soft on crime approach and couple that with enabling drug addiction. But what's happening here in Edmonton isn't unique. It's happening in cities all across Canada and all across the Western world. To sign our petition, calling on governments to act to make cities safe for the people who live there, please go to fixourcities.ca.